Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Sponsors One channel. We're sitting here once again with Gary, who in the previous video, we got to know a little bit about Gary's past, what he's been involved in. We got to get the origin story of Sponsors One with him and his son. It was a very good one. I recommend you guys watch that first if you haven't got the chance yet. But today we want to dive deeper into the company itself and what it's been doing. So, Gary, how are you doing? Are you ready to dive in?
Great, Michael. Thanks. Yeah, let's go.
All right, Gary. So let's start it off by just, again, giving just kind of a general overview of what it is Sponsors One does.
Yeah, Sponsor One's really focused on how to create these amazing brands, get them to market really quickly, and just disrupt the whole brand creation, distribution, marketplace in itself. And we're doing that completely technology driven. So we think, as we're seeing in the markets we're in, complete disruption is set to happen, and we want to be at the forefront of that.
All right, so just kind of getting a little bit deeper in there. When you say technology driven, how does this differ from previous things in the market, from previous ways that people would go about getting information out there?
Yeah, well, the whole thing, we got this decentralization movement going on right now with blockchain and just the discussion about how do you break apart these legacy, establishments that have been put in place a long time. So if you look at the alcohol industry, it's a 3-tier distribution system. There are big players in there selling alcohol,
Huge.
drinks. They're locked into those distribution channels. They're 3 layers away from the customer, and big dollars going on there in a big way. We're trying to break that whole thing apart. They're called influencers, but in the way I'm looking at them through our platform is, let's bring in tens of millions of people. Let's get them all involved in the brand creation, the launch, the selling, and everybody shares in profits. So we put in a digital currency to pay for marketing at all levels. So if you're an original content creator and your content gets engaged by 10,000 people, who then get engaged by another 50,000 people, and down to 1 million people, and they call it viral, but it doesn't need to be that viral. We monitor how that content is interacted with at all levels, and you get compensated every time there's an interaction using our digital currency, and it's real money. Yeah. Each coin is worth 10 cents. So we've got the digital capability to not just monitor likes and the sort of the lame stuff that goes on in social media, but really look at the content, look at its authentic value and its authentic impact as it relates to what the brand is really looking for, and compensate for that. So there's AI going on, and we're designed to operate at millions of transactions a second. So as all this content is circulating around an ecosystem, it's being analyzed for its interactions and then compensated appropriately for it. So that's the marketing side. And then, as this content then translates into a sale, we then have a cash compensation system that says 2 layers back from the sale that created that resulted in those engagements that resulted in the sale. We will pay a commission to the 2 layers. So it's a person who brought in their network, who then brought in the sale. We'll be paying that. Instead of paying that money out into the distribution channel, we're going to pay it out to tens of millions of people involved in the sales side. So we're talking about really decentralization of an entire industry, and enabling it not in a few sales reps and a distributor going into a retailer. We're talking about millions and millions of people actively involved in your brand, and making it transparent, making it auditable. Your dashboard online shows exactly how your content resulted in the sale. And any feedback that happens along the way is right back into our product teams, and we're turning out product as fast as the ideas are coming. It takes years to launch a brand. We're doing it in months right now. The Doc Wilders brand, I mean, it's a huge hit in the market. We're, hit a home run on your first product, out the door. is amazing. And our team's done a great job of pulling all that together. But now that it's out in social media, the feedback's coming. And we're hitting distribution now. So I think it'll be really large scale feedback through social media. But when we get the sponsor coin platform in and the AI going, this puts scale on it like the industry's never seen. So I think we're really all about, how do you decentralize an industry? You do that with technology, you do it with deep learning and AI, and that creates a responsive organization where we digitally create the brands, in real time as we see the demand, the consumer trends shifting. We'll be on the leading edge of everything going on. And so that's what I mean by technology, and that doesn't exist. And if we can link it, and we're not there yet, but we've architected the system to link even into the retailers. So those 20 million people that are out influencing individuals to either go online and buy or go to the retailer to buy, will know that. And they'll get paid for pushing somebody into a retail. Now we go to the retailer and say, look, in your area, we have 6,000 salespeople out there influencing people to go to your store and buy product. Yeah. That really gets the retailer excited when we're doing the marketing for them. So that's our vision around Sponsor Coin platform.
Interesting. It's like you're cutting out a lot of middleman, right? You're cutting out where a lot of the cost and profits are of distribution. And on top of that, it's almost like a bottom-up type system as opposed to what is your standard large corporation, like you mentioned with alcohol, where it's top down, and the profits usually stay somewhere near the top when it comes to that formation of a company. And it's interesting using blockchain to do it. As I said, it's a very grassroots idea on blockchain, right? Where it's the people, the decentralization that allows the people to actually get the fruit of their work a lot easier. So, and you mentioned Doc Wilders. Can you give any more indication some other brands and stuff that you guys have been working on, things that have been going on, and how their progress is?
Yeah, so the premium ready to drink market, the RTD market, is the hottest market right now. It's got the highest growth rate. I think the press release we just put out talked about 30 or 40% growth rate just in the last year. That's staggering.
Yeah.
And it is going to be the dominant market. There's no question about it. So it's growing. You've got other products that are in there that are made with malt and these sorts of things. And, they've got good market share, the seltzer market and so on. That sort of started it. But now the millennial with more dollars to spend, they want a premium product. They want high quality craft alcohol, high quality lemonade, these sorts of things. So we went after the premium market that's not shrinking in margin, but growing in margin. So we went after that market and we hit it. The demand for the thing is off the charts right now. So that creates the next set of problems, is scaling up this up. So we announced this week, we brought on a new high volume co-packer that's on both West Coast and East Coast of the USA. And we're in discussions about producing in Canada as well. So, we're scaling up our production capability just for Doc Wilders because the demand's like off the charts, and it's the summer season. So everybody wants it now.
Exactly. So, summertime drinks, man.
It's a summertime drink for sure. And that's great. So that RTD market, we love that market. We want to be dominant in that market in different segments. So as you can see, we announced a line of craft alcohol. So Smithville, bourbon, Riverview gin, and Four Corners vodka, which is a 4-grain vodka, really unique flavor. So when we've done our taste testing on that, because of the 4 grains, they're like, the whiskey drinkers are going to love this vodka because of the unique flavor in it. So, but we're going to put an RTD a product line underneath each of those brands. So Smithville bourbon is going to have ready to drink pre-mixed bourbons under there. And that vodka, which is a very unique flavor, is going to have some unique RTDs, and the gin as well, cocktails, that sort of thing. So we're looking to fill that line out for next year, and keep pushing the RTD market hard. And so next up on the slate beyond Doc Wilder's will be our products, our Smithville, Riverview, and Four Corners. And already all the distributors that have taken on Doc Wilder's, we showed them the products, and they're like, we'll buy everything you can make. So
That's good.
so that's good, because the market has a supply problem right now. So if you can make it, they will buy it. So
Interesting. Yeah. With the supply thing, tell me then, like, how much have you guys been ramping up? I know you probably can't give specific numbers, but like, are we talking like increasing exponentially versus where you are, or where are you guys increasing to now, and what's the goal overall to where you're going to increase to?
Yeah, well, I mean, a month ago we weren't producing anything, so everything looks like it's exponential.
Exponential from zero.
Right?
Yeah.
A couple of cases exponential, but no, we shipped out the first production run this week, and the announcement we put out has us producing about 50,000 cases a month of Doc Wilder's. So, that's in the millions of dollars. So that's kind of where we're building that product's capacity to right now. We think that will be sustainable for the marketplace. I don't think 100,000 or 200,000 is a market for it, but as we introduce other RTDs and we get that kind of volume, this thing scales up revenue wise, quite well. So the other thing on the scale is we started with a great little co-packer in California, got it off the ground, got it going, a really high quality product. And that was the way to start, because we didn't know how big this thing was going to go.
Yeah.
And it took off. So we very quickly moved into larger scale. So yeah, I think total we're looking right now at about 50,000 cases Doc Wilder's a month, which should be enough to fulfill demand right now. And when you move into that sort of volume, you also see you see your spread expand, because now we're tapping the supply chain of these large co-packers that are buying, instead of 20,000 pounds of cardboard, they're buying 20 tons of cardboard.
Yeah, a big change.
Right. So we're looking to use their logistics supply and their supply chain to bring down and really expand our margin in the product. So we're going to get a double benefit from going up to that higher production capacity through the supply chain. So we mentioned that in this press release this week as well. So we're excited about that.
Yeah, it's interesting. So getting a little bit deeper into the function of the business itself, with you guys cutting out a lot of this middleman and being able to get profits into the hands of the people involved a lot more, does that still leave a higher margin for you guys as well versus traditional business setups? Because again, if distribution, if there's not a lot of again, middleman's working in there, where does that leave you guys?
Yeah, so you're going to look at this as an omni-channel strategy. So it's not one or the other. So it's not just, we're not doing direct consumer to eliminate distribution, wholesale, retail. It's both.
Okay.
And in fact, as I mentioned, the strategy is on the direct consumer with our, decentralized sales and marketing capability in the millions of individuals, tying that back into retail. So it just gives the consumer choice. So they want to walk down the street to the corner liquor store and buy the product versus order online and wait a day or two for it to show up. They'll have both options, and yet our network, digital network, they'll get paid for that. Yeah. So tying it all together really institutionalizes this in a big way. So, but what happens on a direct sale? We literally double our margins. So we don't know how big the DTC market's going to be, the direct to consumer market, because it's in its infancy stages right now. But if it takes off, shipping a bottle of vodka is expensive. It's big. So you want to go down to your local store. You don't want the shipping costs. So there's going to be pros and cons to the DTC market versus the, walk to your corner store type of thing. But when we tie it all together, they're going to all work together as opposed to in competition with each other.
Yeah.
And we are very focused on a multi-channel strategy here and really supporting it in a new way, not in a, dump product out into distribution, put some ads on TV and hope it sells. No, we're closing the loop completely and digitally so that we're dialed right into what's going on in that corner store's local community around, the attachment or the community built around our product. We can pull that retailer into that same community and it's part of the real-time fulfillment system. That's the institutionalization of influence, and that's where we're going with this thing.
Well, another interesting question, and this is just based on your vision personally. I'm assuming you believe this is the future. How far ahead of the curve do you think you guys are? How long do you think other larger companies try to catch on to what it is you guys are doing and try to implement something similar?
This functionality we're talking about right now, we built 5 years ago. The market was not ready. If you look at the history of Influence 1.0 was like Rihanna with, 50 million followers, and write her a check for $6 million to post a picture on her Instagram, or I don't even know if Instagram was out back then.
Not that big yet. Yeah.
But on Facebook, and then that sort of the brands weren't getting the value out of that. So then they moved to, micro influence. Let's get lots of little people, we'll pay them $500 to post something. The loop wasn't closed there either. They're forking out a lot of money and it's hard to measure other than who clicked on what, but you can really trace it back to the sale. Influence 3.0, which is where we're playing, is really the complete digital loop from the authentic engagement levels, but also tying in at the retail level where you've created this ecosystem where everybody's working together, but it's decentralized. So when you even look at the corner store, they're part of that whole decentralized system that allows them to compete. If they've got 10,000, influencers in the community that have built and are part of the community around the vodka, they'll tie that retailer in and say, go there. It's in stock. I was there yesterday. They got cases of it on the shelf. They'll drive people into the store. And that to me is Influence 3.0. Nobody's there yet.
Yeah, it's like you're closing a lot of the information gaps that currently exist in terms of how other people currently use influencers and such, to where you don't know if this sale came from this or that. And so you have a hard time actually giving people who deserve some chunk of the change their due cut, right? So I guess you did a really good job so far in explaining your guys' launch of brands and where you guys are going. Do you have any closing remarks of what people should be looking out for in the near term from you guys?
Just look at the shelves and the retailers, because the stuff's going into distribution now. It's going to start showing up in the stores to be purchased, and of course the DTC is a really big part for us. So we're working hard to get that live. So if it's not in your store, you can just order online. I know we did a trial with Great American Craft out in California. Mm-hmm. They were direct to consumer, and every time we gave them a shipment, it was sold out in hours. And then we did another one, sold out in hours. So we know the demand is there.
Yeah.
Our strategy now is to get something more big and scalable online for our customer base. And I think our investors are the one that are buying everything that hits the shelf. So, it's kind of like a self-fulfilling prophecy here where we have a lot of investors. I think last count we could be somewhere between 30,000 and 50,000 shareholders now in the company. Good. That in itself is enough. We'll just sell our investors product, give them a nice discount for being an investor, and they'll buy everything we produce. So it's kind of like I say, it is an ecosystem.
Yeah. It's a pretty tight ecosystem there, but you got to get more product out. If it's selling out right away, that's no good. That means more people who want it need to get it, right? So
that's right.
Congrats on ramping up, and good luck with everything. Let me see. I don't know what we can offer people right now as a teaser for the next video we're doing, but stay tuned, everybody. If you have any questions about anything Gary was talking about with the 3.0 or anything, let us know. We'll be very happy to dive into it. Gary, thank you so much for coming on and giving everyone the explanation. And stay tuned for more. Gary, have a wonderful day.
Yeah. Thank you, Michael. Have a good day.